Hello and welcome to the Tournament Center. I'm Randy Buehler here with Brian David Marshall. We're at Pro Tour San Diego and we're watching the debut of two-headed giant booster draft on the Pro Tour. Wanted to walk you through how this format works. It's a lot of fun. People seem to be liking it. The pros are diving in. And so I want to start off the day sort of talking about mechanics of how this format works.
It's very different than a normal booster draft. If you and I were in a normal draft, we each have
3 packs.
3 packs.
Time Spiral, Planar Chaos, Future Sight. But we're a two-headed giant team, so mush them together. We're going to draft from 6 packs, and we're going to draft them together. So the way it works is you've got 8 people around the table, just like you would a normal booster draft, but they're divided up into 4 teams. So what you've really got is 4 teams sitting next to each other.
4 units.
4 units, 4 two-headed giants. And then one of the things I like about this format is you actually, instead of getting 3 first picks, you get 12 first picks. Because we open up a pack of cards. Brian and I are teammates, so we're kind of opening these together. These are our shared cards, and we leaf through the pack together, and we get to argue, we get to talk, we get to figure out.
I'm taking Fathom Seer.
Figure out who wants
Riftwing
Cloudscape.
Oh, but
Word of Seizing.
So this is a great example of what a crazy pack you can have. Yeah.
Get your Rebel guy, get Fathom Seer, Bail Off Any Good. Who else are you thinking about for the first pick? Cloudscape.
Cloudscape. A Nightshade Assassin's really good.
That's a ton of good cards.
You have so many cards that you can actually go almost mono black. You have 90 cards to work with. And
sure.
If you wanted to build a deck around this guy.
Yeah, the way this works is we're going to take 2 cards out of this pack, then we're going to pass it to the left, get the next pack, kind of like Booster Draft, but taking 2 cards at a time. And the thing is, they go into a shared pile. So instead of me drafting 45 and Brian drafting 45, we're going to draft 90, and we don't actually have to divide them up until after the draft when we sit down for deck building.
What cards do you think we should take out of this pack?
I like the Nightshade Assassin. I think we could probably set up some Madness shenanigans if we're going from the first pick.
Sure.
Get all the enablers we need, and
there's a lot of good Madness enablers in the 3rd pack.
I would take Word of Seizing. The card just seems ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know that in any draft I could actually.
You
just
can't
not,
ship Fathom
like
Seer?
The opportunity to take. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've had to make this choice of one or the other in a single draft, and the opportunity to just slam Riftwing Cloudscape and Fathom Seer as my first picks is tremendously exciting to me.
Fair.
I mean, and then can you imagine the team that
gets past those?
You take this and you pass these. Like,
yeah,
these are your second picks.
So, one of the things the format has is you get to argue. And sometimes the teams can never come to the same agreement. Sometimes you get teams that work well together, and that's actually a lot of what makes the format fun, and a lot of what makes the format different is that you've got people trying to coordinate strategies, and the bad teams are sort of worse than the sum of their parts.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were talking to some players yesterday who said that while they were testing the format, and this was fascinating to me.
This is the Dutch.
The Dutch player said that they were keeping track, and so a lot of times you're doing a draft and you don't have your teammate there, so you decide to draft both sides of your team's decks and then play out both your team's matches.
Just to practice,
It's just to practice. And the Dutch players were saying that in testing, the one-man teams were vastly outperforming the 2-man teams. And they were just completely befuddled by that until they realized that there's so much information that is conveyed as we're, looking at our hand of cards. We're looking at our hand of cards and they do something and I just kind of go like, this to my teammate,
and
then
you're tipping information.
The other team's like, oh, they have a counterspell, or you're just playing so quickly, and then suddenly the pace of play slows because you need to sort of convey some information, even as you're trying to do it subtly, you're trying to do it with an eyebrow, or you're trying to, the teams that are going to do really well this weekend are the teams that have literally, learned to function as one.
Absolutely.
To function as a one-man team, that they've come together, they understand each other.
I'm convinced that the teams that win are going to be the teams that are better than the sum of the parts, right?
This is going to be, this is going to be
John Finkel or Kai Bude could not win this with an empty chair. I think what you want is like a Rich Hohen plus Jelger Wiegersma sitting next to him helping.
Like there.
Yeah, that is one of the teams this weekend. If you get a team that functions coherently, we've got 2 of the best players in the game, and they're actually helping each other. That's got to be the right strategy.
And one of the things that's also interesting is the idea that in single Magic, I mean, bluffing is fun, and you always talk about bluffing, but have you ever really tried to sell a bluff in one-on-one draft, like a one-on-one match? It sometimes it works, but sometimes it's really hard to if you try to bluff at all, it's obvious that you're bluffing because suddenly you're trying to sell something.
Right.
But in two-headed giant, we're talking.
Yeah, you're talking anyway.
And
it's pretty easy to talk about, I'm looking at 3 planes, and I'm like, it's hard to.
There's a lot more information that's passed
a lot more,
constantly.
certainly opportunity
and you,
to bluff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you're going to see there's a couple of teams that I'm aware of this weekend that have really they've actually worked on that element of the game.
So the basic mechanics: you open up the packs, you go through 6 packs of cards, you wind up with 90. And then it's time for deck building. Now the two of us sit down, we build our decks together. We've got the stack of 90 cards, divide them up into 2 decks. You don't have to commit to colors until deck building, although the good teams will have a sense of what the 2 decks are, which color combinations are going together as they do the
I think you quickly dismiss they just take all the good cards and then build 2 decks at the end.
I mean, that's not terrible, but that's not
terrible,
it's not the right strategy. It's not the best strategy. You need to get a sense of, we're playing this deck and this deck. Oh, I've got the Madness deck, so maybe that's red black, and oh, maybe there's a blue white, or maybe it's mono blue. You get that sense. So after you build the decks, typically you've got 8 teams, and so you'll play 2 rounds, and then those games are of course played out two-headed giant style. If you haven't played the two-headed giant format, it's pretty cool, it's pretty different. The basics are you share your turns, so Brian and I are a team, we have 30 life, we're trying to play the other team, and we have our own deck, we have our own hand of cards, but we're sharing the same turn.
Right.
So we attack together, we block together, we draw cards at the same time. We're debating, I've got my mana pool, you've got your mana pool, but it's one shared attack. It's all the phases of the turn are shared, is the way to think about it. And so that's kind of a cool format too. And you watch these guys all weekend. We're going to be watching them.
And it changes the value of cards, that ability to have the same turn.
Yeah, the biggest thing that changes is probably Storm.
Storm and expensive cards that in normal Magic you'd play and they don't do anything. We played a practice draft last night, and Aaron Forsythe's team had False Demise. And False Demise is a 5-mana enchantment. You play it on a creature.
Fool's Demise. False Demise is the original one. False Demise is the 5-mana enchantment that says, okay, when that guy dies, I get my Fool's Demise back and I get your creature. And in one-on-one Magic, normally you commit 5 mana to an enchantment that has no impact on the board, and then, next turn, I'm going to kill it and steal your guy, and then you never get to untap because you just spent a whole turn doing nothing. But here...
Aaron and Kelly were like, okay, I'll cast Fool's Demise on your guy, then I will tap out and kill it.
Yeah, the other guy kills it, so you get the creature right away. It's much more effective here.
Or you mentioned Storm, you can go, I'm going to cast my white main lion.
I'll cast a bunch of spells.
My white main lion, my white main lion, my white main lion,
using all your mana.
My white main lion, and my white main lion, and then you're going to cast Empty the Warrens, Ignite Memories, Volcanic Awakening, etc. So
a lot of different tweaks, a lot of cards that have different value just because of the two-headed giant dynamic. A lot of strategies that are different because of the draft dynamic.
A lot of interesting rules quirks. If I have a Bog Serpent, for example, as long as it's...
Either one of them have a swamp.
As long as either player has a swamp, I can attack. Cards like Null Profusion become bad because both players... both players end up skipping their draw. So one player is continuing to draw cards, but the other guy is shut out. Then so it's going to be a really reward preparation. So Two-Headed Giant making its Pro Tour debut. Brian and I will be here at Pro Tour San Diego all weekend long. We'll be bringing you the highlights. We'll be watching as these pros figure out this format. Somebody's going to win $50,000. We'll be here.
Don't miss out on your chance to get an exclusive Rhea Dawnbringer promo foil at Magic Game Day. On Saturday, July 14th, you can get your hands on a never-seen-before promo, participate in a full day of Magic Gaming, and join exciting contests that are free to enter. For more information on game days in your area, go to www.wizards.com/magicgameday.